What is up, YouTube? It's Taylor here, and today I have 5 finance moves for you to level up. So before I get started, I want to say thank you for clicking this video and watching. Please like the video and please comment if you are looking forward to seeing any specific type of content that I will be looking to put out. So type in there what you want me to do next for a next video, and of course, as always, I love to read and respond to those comments, so thank you guys for that. And lastly, if you guys have not yet subscribed, please do. It helps me tremendously. So I want to get this video and this platform and this content out to a lot more people. So by doing those things, you really help the YouTube algorithm to serve it to more people. So with that, I'm going to jump right into my 5 ways, my 5 moves to help you level up with your finances. And the first one is to automate. If you've ever watched any of my other videos, I am a very, very big believer in automating and simplifying and making things into a process. And your personal finances should not be an exception to that. So when I mean automate those things, what I mean is to put all of your bills on auto pay. You do not want to get hit with a late fee or even a late payment on your credit report. So I really encourage you to use the automation for bill paying, and then also for your savings, right? We're always told to, pay yourself first, pay yourself first. A really, really simple way to do that is to set up an automatic, movement of money into something else so that you don't have to think about it. And something too that you can use for this is, if you've got some additional variable income, if you've got some commissions, or maybe you're paid strictly on commissions, it's even more important to plan accordingly and to use a plan every single month so that you know exactly where your money is going. So that's my first tip, is to automate those bills, those savings accounts, everything like that. Even investments too. You can always, put those on auto invest type of things. The second tip and the second move for you is to dig your well before you're thirsty. Jim Rohn talks a lot about this, is, you want to make sure that you're more than prepared before you need it, before something happens. There's an accident, your spouse loses a job, there's an illness, something like that could happen. And I think we all realize and believe that COVID has taught us that. At first, when COVID came out, everybody thought, oh, we're going to be out, for 2 weeks. And obviously the joke was on us for that. So even more important that we realize that these things can happen more frequently and more, honestly, more tremendously to people these days. So very important to keep that in mind. And the financial gurus, right, of the world say, 3 months, 6 months, a year worth of your living expenses saved up. I personally think 6 months is sufficient, because typically within a few months, within that, starting to chip away that 6-month reserve, you should be able to figure something out and kind of pivot a little bit to start earning more and to replenish that. This, of course, is very important, because most of the time when something massive happens, like an illness or something catastrophic happens, having money as a stressor adds way more emotion into the event. Way more emotion into somebody being diagnosed with something. So I really recommend that you kind of do yourself a favor by starting to think ahead a little bit more than what you might be used to. The third tip would be to use credit cards to your advantage. So we've all heard, again, that credit cards are a slippery slope, and I myself has been in credit card debt before. And so what I wanted to share with you is that credit cards can be a very, very unique tool to help use and fuel your life, whether it's through cash back, whether it's through miles, whatever that would be. You can find a credit card that is willing to pay you back for using your money through that, specific card. So with that, use it, like I said, use it to your advantage. You have companies out there that are throwing themselves at you, giving you, 100,000 bonus miles and blah, 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 all these cool things. So use it to your advantage. Just make sure that you have that on auto pay and you're paying off that full balance before it accumulates any interest. The second part of this, using credit cards to your advantage, is to continually check your credit score. And I think a lot of times people just tend to shove it under the rug and don't really pay attention to it. But what's really important is that you monitor that, because things can happen where there's an error on your report. And I really encourage you to speak up when you see something like that. The last piece that I wanted to share is that every 6 months on your credit cards, to request a credit line increase. Even if you're not even near that, it's always important to continually ask. And the reason that is because part of the way that they score your credit score is by your credit card utilization. So if you can increase that bottom number of the percentage that they're looking for, and I'll post the formula right here for you guys too. But the bigger the number is, the smaller the percentage, which means that you're more credit worthy, which means your credit score goes up. So it's important to continually ask. There's a lot of credit card companies out there that don't just hand those out. There are that do, of course. There's some of those companies that do. But I encourage you to take a look at those and repeatedly request credit line increases every 6 months or so. The fourth finance move that I wanted to share with you is to identify your most important goals around money. Short-term, long-term, very long-term. I mean, just take a whole deep dive, because what happens is me too. You get caught up in the everyday things, right? You have to pay this bill over here. You got to save for this thing pops up. You got to pay for a dentist appointment, blah, blah, blah. All these things happen so quickly that a lot of times we don't take a deeper look into what it is that we're actually doing, right? We all know that we're not here to work at a job, pay bills, and then die, right? That's not what we're here for. So let's try to, again, take a look at really what it is that we want money to use, what we want money to do to use for our futures. So money is a tool. Money is an incredible tool, but we also deep down realize that money is actually energy. Money is energy, and the way we feel about money and the way that we look at money, the closer we can get to realizing those points, the closer we can use money more and more to our advantage. So I encourage you to take a night, an evening with your family or your spouse or your parents or whoever it is that you have as a confidant to really start to look at why you want either A, to accumulate money, or B, to just simply have money. What are the reasons for that? Not just to have money. You don't just have money to have money. You need to have money to have a purpose. And so I think that's a really big thing when you're trying to revamp maybe finances in your own life, is to figure out why do you actually want to have this money? Why do you want to have that financial freedom? That is a really, really big thing that can help you motivate you through all these other steps that I've listed out, because budgeting's not fun. Not saying no to yourself is not fun, but there is a reason, and we need to find that deeper reason in order for the rest of all this to make more sense. So I encourage you to really work together as a couple, work together as a family to identify what everybody wants in the short and long term. Why are we here? Why are we looking at working so hard? Why are we busting our butts every day? Let's have a plan. Let's feel good about this plan and use that as fuel to move forward. The next step that I'll take about that, or the next point that I'll take about that, is that I want you to work those numbers backwards. So you have a goal in mind, $1 million, $100,000, $10,000, whatever that number is. And for whatever that number is for, maybe it's for a down payment for your home, and I'll just use that as an example. So down payment for a home, you need to have $10,000 saved up in a certain number of months. What I want you to do is to do the math backwards. So that $10,000 seems like a really big, freaky number when you just look at it. But if you can take that and break it down into, let's say you want to get a new house in 2 full years. So you have 24 months. So what I encourage you to do is take that 10 grand, break it down by 24, and you can even break it down per week or per paycheck. So if you're paid every 2 weeks, you can make that work into exactly the number that you need to save every single pay period. You can even break it down to a per day dollar amount. I bet you spend more than that dollar amount in something at a gas station every day, or, gas station, energy drink, coffee, something like that. And it's not necessarily to say no and deny yourself those things, but to simply realize the magnitude of what you have the power to do. And that's what I think is really cool. So that's my point, is to work those numbers backwards for whatever you're looking for. If you're planning a trip, put down that number and work towards that number together as a family, together as a couple, or you yourself and your bank account. It's totally possible and doable. Okay, the last and fifth final thing that I wanted to share, these financial money moves. This one is the last one. And I want you and encourage you to find ways to make your money make you money. That is the multiplier and the differentiator between a lot of very wealthy people and a lot of very not wealthy people. So we want to do that, and we want to do it as quick as possible. We want our money to multiply as quick as possible. And we want that so that we can take those dollars that are left over to be able to multiply that again. And as you can see, that is where the compounding effect really, really wows people, right? If you've heard the expression, you save a few $100s into whatever type of an account that makes you money every month, by the time that you turn 40 years old, you won't have to put any more money into it and you'll be a millionaire, by the time you turn 65. Whatever the specific numbers are, I don't actually know what those numbers are. But the point is that you can use time and these tools to your advantage. Not only those time and tools, but also different and unique ideas to use your money to put into. Whether it's real estate, it's stocks, it's crypto, it's all of these things that are open and available at any time of the day, 24 hours a day, no matter what part of the country or the world you live in. There are so many opportunities out there to go out and multiply your money. So with that is the end of the video. I thank you very much for sticking around. Please comment and please like. And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. If you're not subscribed yet, I would appreciate if you did. And also follow me on other platforms. I've got lots of other cool things going on, content posted daily. And I hope you guys all have an incredible day. We'll see you next time.